So I knew what life was missing. You lit a flame that consumed my hate. I'm not one for reminiscing, but I traded all for your sweet embrace. 'Cause we lost everything. We had to pay the price. There's a canvas with two faces of fallen angels who loved and lost. It was a passion for the ages, but in the end, guess we pay the cost. A thing of beauty, I know, will never fade away. What you did to me, I know. Said what you had to say, but a thing of beauty will never fade away. Will never fade away. I see your eyes, I know you see me. You're like a ghost, you're everywhere. I'm your demon, never leaving. A metal soul of rage and fear. That one thing that changed it all. That one thing that caused the fall. A thing of beauty, I know, will never fade away. What you did to me, I know. So what you had to say, but a thing of beauty, I know, will never fade away. And I'll do my duty, I know. Somehow I'll find a way, but a thing of beauty will never fade away. And I'll do my duty, will never fade away.
All right, let's get this show
All
on the
right.
road.
Let's
Hello,
get
hello.
rolling.
Hey, I'm
Welcome
I'm
in, guys.
I'm excited, man.
Yeah.
This has been a long time waiting for the Edgerunners mission kit to actually come to
hmm
release.
Yep.
There's a lot of hype and talk about it. There was some special dice that were given away at PAX Unplugged this past
Yep.
December. So
Yeah, I think it was this past December.
we
Um,
almost had a chance to give some of those dice away at GaryCon, but unfortunately they gave them all away at PAX. I was so disappointed. I'm like, what?
yeah. I mean, look, hey, uh, look. If you've never seen any of the Cyberpunk dice, they actually are pretty cool. I think I have some somewhere around
I
here.
got a set right here. As a matter of fact, right
Oh, look at that.
there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go. Um. Oh, you also got some books as well from our time at GaryCon. Still
Mhm.
waiting to give away. But we can
I
talk about that
do.
later.
I
Um.
do.
But yeah. I mean, as Greg said, this is first of all, this is episode 56 of the update log. I'm Rob, your host, and with me are Matt and Greg, my co-hosts. And tonight we're doing something a little bit different. We're still going to kind of give you a bit of a reporting on some new stuff, but this is more of a conversation and a kind of a dive into a very big, very anticipated release out of Artel Sorian, which we've partnered with before during GaryCon actually. We've made some content for their game called Beyond the Wall, which we'll talk about more and again in a bit. But yeah, the 2077 mission kit. I think that's the name of it, right?
Yep.
Officially, or is
Yep.
this a
Yeah,
Cyberpunk
it's the
It's
Cyberpunk
Edgerunners.
Edgerunners
Edgerunners
mission.
mission? Okay, I keep calling it
Yeah.
2077 mission kit for whatever reason. Um,
However, it does have the adaptive stuff
yes,
to play in the 2077 world. So
yeah,
that's
yeah. That's probably where I keep calling it from. But yeah, so for those of you who to give you a brief history on Artel Sorian and their kind of their one of their many IPs, Cyberpunk being the main one. It's created by a gentleman named Mike Pondsmith, who we've talked about quite a bit. We actually sat down with his son Cody Pondsmith to interview him about the upcoming Shadow Scar uh, game. That Cody is the mastermind behind that. If you go back through our videos, we it's like 6 months ago.
yeah, probably
No, it was a
now.
little bit more. I
Yeah,
think it was like October,
feels
so a
like
little bit
yesterday.
longer. Yeah, it does.
Somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah, it was a while ago, but go back and watch it. I highly recommend it, and definitely check out their website because they have tons of stuff that they put out there. This is one thing I do love that Artelsorian does is so ever since Cyberpunk Red came out, they've been releasing essentially free content, free DLCs.
Hmm.
But I think it was one a month for like the last year or so, or ever since it came out. Um, and chock full of content, really good changes in certain rules, characters. That the cast of characters in the Cyberpunk universe is colorful to say the least. But anyway, so going back to the origins of Artel Sorian, Studios was created by Mike Pondsmith and his family, his wife Lisa Pondsmith, in the late '80s. I don't know, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head when the studio launched, but Cyberpunk: The Dark Future, set in 2013, came out in 1988. I think it was around March or so, somewhere around there. So it's about as old as I am. um, so that lasted. So 2013 came out, The Dark Future. It was literally the Cyberpunk game. Um, all the games since kind of harken back to it in some way, shape, or form. But that, Cyberpunk: The Dark Future is the first of its kind for that kind of genre in the TTRPG space. And then in 1990, I believe, was Cyberpunk 2020. and that stayed the mainstay for quite a bit until Red came out. What was it? What I want to say 2020 or 20, like around 2020, 2021 for Red.
Red's been out for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Red came out a couple of years before.
November 14th, 2020.
Was it November 14th?
Yep, I just looked. That's what Google says. Cyberpunk Red, the newest pen and paper RPG by Arta Story.
If Google says it, it has to be true, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, November 14th, 2020 was when Cyberpunk Red was released. So it's been about 4 years, and in that time, they've released tons and tons of content over the years. Free mission kits, free DLCs, and now we have the Cyberpunk Edgerunners mission kit, which it's the good thing about it is you don't actually need the whole core game for Red. It's built off of Red, but you don't need Red to play it. The mission kit is what the TTRPG community calls a starter box. Think back to D&D, with the red box and whatnot. Or I think their starter box for the original edition was like the brown or white box. Greg, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
White it
box.
was. Yeah.
And then I think the first edition after that was the red box. But oftentimes companies will put those out as mini, self-contained stories with pre-generated characters and a bunch of stuff already kind of made for you, so you can get a general feel for the game and the motion, the rules and stuff like that. But yeah, this is.
I was gonna say, keep going, man. You're just, yeah. I mean.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just.
I'm surprised Matt hasn't mutinied yet.
Yeah, I'm just super excited for this.
You guys are like talking about like the kind of like the origin of Cyberpunk, and I haven't been into the game that long, so I have much to add here.
But so the Cyberpunk Edgerunners mission kit is based off of the anime, which I highly recommend. It's on Netflix. It was created by Studio Trigger, which both myself and Matt are huge fans of. And the anime is worth the watch. Yeah, there you go. Dungeon Masters. Greg,
I'm gonna.
Oh, the Danger Girl dossier.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is like the monster manual of Cyberpunk. Yeah.
So there's some lore bits there that we can kind of dive into. There are a number of different books already out for Cyberpunk Red. So you have that. You have Black Chrome, which we've messed around with that in our private game, and let me tell you, some of the stuff they got in that book is wacky.
It is.
They literally they have something akin to the Doomslayer sword. So let's just put that out there.
I'm more a fan of the cyber pillow. It's a pillow you can put in your cyber arm, so you can have whatever you want.
Matt has an unhealthy obsession with that cyber pillow.
Look, if you had a cyber arm, wouldn't that sound honestly just great?
I don't know. I think Matt's kind of a Mr. Stud guy personally, but
why not both?
Why not both pillow and stud? If I had a cyber arm, Matt, I wouldn't be putting a pillow in it. I'd have a grenade launcher, okay?
There's enough options in there for both, my man.
Really?
Yeah. No, the grenade launcher is only like 2 slots of your arm, and I think those come with like 3 or 4 option slots. So you have room for both.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. I might have to adjust my
after we've experienced the grenade launcher so many times with some certain character almost killing the rest of the party.
Many times.
I know. Okay, I don't want to hear that coming from Rob, because your character more than anyone else has nearly killed everyone.
You know what? I'm not even going to argue. I'm not even going to argue.
We don't even need to go find fights. It's friendly fire mostly. So
yeah, sometimes. Look! If someone throws a grenade and yells "fire in the hole" and you don't move, well, it's a skill issue at that point. I don't know what to tell you,
Unfortunately,
man.
turn order doesn't let me move so easily.
Oh, I see. Blame it on turn order. Okay.
Yes, I will.
Just gotta get better reflexes.
Mm-hmm.
Send a vista.
I maxed out that stat, bro.
Okay, so back to the Cyberpunk Edgerunners mission kit. So yeah, so it is based off of the anime. For those of you who've never watched it, highly recommend you watch it. And for those of you who have watched it, well, the mission kit goes into. I mean, basically, there's 40 pages of lore on all the characters covered, and a bit more. And it goes over quite a bit of that particular year, because while set in the 77 universe, it at least I think it does. I don't know. I could be wrong. I haven't had a chance to look at it, but I think it takes place in 76, not 77. But I could be wrong.
The anime is
the anime takes place in 76. So we'll see. Well, I guess we'll see when the mission kit. Yeah, we'll see when the mission kit takes place, because it does come with like a story with it that I'm fairly sure touches on the characters from the anime.
Yeah,
I would be surprised if it didn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna say probably that, like, timeline wise, it'll probably take place before 77.
Yeah,
because probably one of the biggest things that happens in 2077 is, I guess, spoiler for this game that's been out for a while, but
yeah,
V takes down Adam Smasher at the end.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a fucking massive deal.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Like, I think Adam Smasher, he's a somebody.
Yeah, so I think this is definitely timeline-wise before the events of the game 2077. I'd say likely it's during the time that the anime is happening. So like the David and his crew, since they are included as like characters in this mission kit, this is probably happening while those guys are actually operating and running around.
Yeah. So Matt, I see you apparently synth calc is great way to increase your reflex stat.
Yeah, man.
Are you low-key telling us Gillian's starting the white powder there, buddy?
Wouldn't surprise me.
He would never admit to such a thing. I gotta look like, how good is his resist torture and drugs? How easily could he use that without getting addicted?
I don't know, man. He might want to talk to the rocker boy.
Like, if you got a really high resist torture drugs, then like, just have some fun, drugs. Man. Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, we're not advocating for you to do drugs unless it's in Cyberpunk, the game, in which case do drugs. Nobody clip that and take it out of context, please. Right. Your parents coming for me.
Right.
But I've been yammering on long enough. What do you guys think? What are you guys most excited about with the recent release or soon to be recent release? Because the mission kit isn't officially out yet. It does hit full release the 20th, I believe.
21st.
Okay, the 21st of this month. Pre-orders are up now, so if you want to get yours before they inevitably sell out, go to their website, artasauriangames.com, I believe is the website, and get you one. Get your pre-order. Comes with dice, I believe. Obviously all the available information. But anyway, yeah, what are you guys excited for? Like, what's kind of piqued your interest on about the mission kit, what it's bringing to the table based on what we know?
So, like, for me, I think this comes from more of like a gameplay point of view, because obviously it's mostly based off the red system. Like, it practically is red, but with like some extra bells and whistles, I guess you could say. Like, yeah. I'm excited to kind of like see what kind of like new weapons, cyberware, like items and stuff there are, because this is like essentially 30 years in the future from the time of Red, 2040s. So we've got 30 years in the future, so obviously there's going to be some new items, there's going to be some new tech, all sorts of new stuff, and that just seems like it'd be a lot of fun to kind of just pour through that list of items and see what kind of cool stuff they
got. Lots of cool stuff. No, there's a lot of cool stuff in the mission kit, and it's FYI, we are ideally we're going to be playing this sometime probably next Thursday. I don't know. I'd actually like to do that anytime after the 14th.
Yeah.
So
it's got to be after the 14th.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Greg, what about you? You've played this, their games the longest. You've played. I believe you played 2013. You played 2020, and you've played Red.
Wow, you make me sound old.
You're not.
Well,
you're seasoned.
Seasoned, yes, like a good steak.
Yep.
Anyway,
seasoned.
Just when you think you have like a pile of lore, because there is so much that's available already. If you like, most of the books from the 2020 era are the lore for the Cyberpunk universe at this point, and there is a whole lot of really, really good stuff that's out there. But just when you think you have all of it, the mission kit comes along and introduces some more. So there's some good story pieces in there, some explanations of things that questions that people have about different things, like why in like the original game or like even 2020 is Haywood part of the mainland, and in 2077 it's more or less its own island. That might be explained in the mission kit.
Yeah, like we said, there's 40 pages of lore that goes into a lot of kind of bridging that gap between 2020 or 20 Red, which is set in 2045. If you didn't know, so that's the setting for Red. Basically, it's that midpoint between 2020 and everything that happens at Arasaka Tower, which the bombing of Arasaka Tower, which leads to Cyberpunk Red, and then this mission kit is kind of that bridge between 2045 and the video game.
Well, it can be. It's designed to do that. Yeah. That's not the main purpose behind it.
Like an authority, but yes, those assumably that's kind of what it's gonna be bridging the gap to. How it's gonna do that, and kind of what blanks it's gonna fill in. Well, I'm excited to see.
Yes, and for people who really enjoyed, because I mean, the series, the Edgerunners series in Netflix really was quite good, and it drew a huge audience, many more people that were introduced to the Cyberpunk universe through that series, and rightly so, because it was a very good series. It highlighted some really key features from the game itself that are touched on in the video game, like cyberpsychosis. Gave you a reasonably good view of what that looks like, or how that actually would work. But for the mission kit, you actually have the opportunity to play some of the characters, if not all of the characters that survive. That is from Edgerunners, and that's pretty cool. That you can, it's designed to take that story and allow you to move it forward if you want to.
And I'm pretty sure, based on, again, the information that we've gathered for this episode, that that lore book, because it comes in, I believe, 3 separate books from what's been said. You have like, basically a condensed version of the rules, the lore book, I believe, and then the story piece, the mission that you're gonna get. But that the lore piece, I believe, from what we've gotten, they're gonna go more in depth into the characters of the Edgerunners series. Like, you'll get to look at the history of characters like Maine and Dorio and Rebecca and Pilar, all those guys. Poor Rebecca. They did her dirty, man. If you know, you know.
We did her dirty. Who was she going up against? How do you not do someone dirty?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But she got done dirty multiple times. Let's put it. Let's put it that way. If you go watch the anime, you'll figure it out. I still say David should have. Anyway, let's not ruin anything for anybody. But so you'll get to see more of the characters and understand more of their stories, because that's one thing that the anime didn't do. And normally you would be like, oh well, I wish they had talked more about such and such, but I like that they didn't, because it keeps to the heart of Cyberpunk and what it kind of is. Cyberpunk is really, it's a down and dirty kind of game. You're here for a good time, not a long time. Like people are not expected to survive for very long, and typically, as an Edgerunner, you don't, unless you get close with your team, you're not talking about your sob story growing up, in Haywood or Watson or whatever. No one gives a shit. You do a job.
Well, no, that's one way of looking at it.
So that's one way of looking at it.
Absolutely.
But we have some characters from our private game that have developed into a crew called the Red Ravens, and they've certainly had some moments.
Moments. That's what you call them.
Moments. Yeah, moments. Let's just call them moments.
All right. So let's explore this for just a moment. Moments. Okay. I want to, there's one I definitely want to get to, but I think there's a little bit of build up that kind of comes to it. So I'm going to go back a ways, and I'm, look at some of the early episodes. Well, not even episodes, early sessions that we had. The first character to get a real limb blown off was actually your character, Roland.
Yeah. The drummer of a band called the Haywood Highwaymen got his hand blown off, and I think it was the second session we did.
That may or may not have had something to do with someone else's driving. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's right. I almost forgot.
Okay, no. Let me explain this, because they give me shit for this, as if it's my fault. Okay, so on our way into this mission, on the drive there, we pass by a group of thugs on the street, and without warning, they just shoot at us, and we go by. So on the way back, we have to take the same route again. There are those same thugs there. So this time, my character's driving, and he figures this time, I'm not going to just sit by and let them shoot at us. So as he passes by, he just hits one of them with the fucking car. Because fuck them, that's why. And so they act as if it's my character's fault that they shot at the car, as if they weren't going to do that to begin with.
Well, it's not like you hitting one of their crew didn't give them increased incentive to fucking do it.
I'm sorry. Did squeezing the trigger harder make your hand get blown off? Nah, that shit was gonna happen anyway. I'm just saying they were gonna shoot anyway. I just got the first shot.
Hey,
with a car.
Think about it this way. Now there's actually just a couple of months ago, Artel Sorian introduced some automotive mechanics. So we could go back and replay that session and like see for real whether Gillian's driving is any good or not. I mean,
he's got like a plus 12. That's decent driving. It's no nomad, but that's decent driving.
Give him a chance to really do something with that.
So yeah, that is something. Before we continue on in kind of what we're talking about. So yeah, by the way, for everyone listening, if you're interested in checking out Arthouse Orient's content, again, they do put out free content. It's oftentimes updated rules, some new items and characters, completely free. All you gotta do is go to their website, go to, I believe, the DLC section, and you'll find it. Both, not only do they do it for Cyberpunk, but they also do it for The Witcher, which is another great TTRPG that they've come out with. So, check them out, seriously. But yeah, Gillian, God, fucking Gillian, he's a problem. He's a whole problem.
Wow. Again, I don't want to hear that from you, considering how much Roland has harmed everyone in his own group.
No, whoa. Harmed everyone. Look, if you're too old to get out of the way when bullets are flying, that's on you, my man.
You almost blew yourself up, too.
That was intended.
Likely excuse.
That was completely on purpose.
This is happening right now.
That was completely on purpose. Look. That's look. Style over substance, baby. That's all I gotta say. Style over substance.
Really trying to go out in a blaze of glory as soon as he possibly can.
So
that's right.
He looks at an explosive and he's like, "I've got to get in there."
So what character in that game has lost the most limbs?
Gillian.
He's only lost a leg.
He's only lost, really? I thought he lost an arm too.
Well, and
he replaced an arm with Cyberpunk, right? He didn't lose it beforehand. He just decided to go and do it.
Okay.
So I guess you could say technically two, but due to injury, only a leg.
Only a leg. So I think right now it's tied between Gillian and Roland. Losing the hand, losing a leg.
Yeah, Harper, you're absolutely correct. When your very first introduction to the Red Ravens was at that gas station, and between Roland and Gillian, they decided to basically blow up the gas station while you were at the pumps.
Don't put that on my character.
We had a good reason.
Completely on Roland.
What was your reason?
In character, no one knows who it was. Out of character, I did target the pumps directly. But in character, everybody was shooting in the same direction, so we don't know who blew it up. However, there was a good reason for it, and his name was Skeet.
That's all you really need to know.
Skeet.
The guy's name was Skeet,
apparently Skeet took offense when we pointed out that his name was fucking Skeet, and the buffoonery that comes with said name, and he took it personally. So he decided to take some shot at us, and we took some shots back, and we also ran him over with the car.
He took it personally. You ran him over, shot him to death, blew up the gas station around him, and then continued to shoot his corpse for like 2 rounds. So, who took it personally?
I'm just going to preface this saying, my character didn't do this shit.
I did. My character did. Because his sister decided to break my character's leg. So he took that personally and killed her brother. And then proceeded to kill her too.
And nearly kill himself with that explosion.
All planned, baby. All planned. He did the mental math in his head. He was just far enough away to survive, but just close enough that it was cool.
It was cool. That was a pretty good awesome little adventure we had there.
If we're throwing slander, we want to tell everybody what Gillian did to the nun. Yeah, that's right. Thought we forgot.
Oh yeah, after. Okay. With this bit of the nuns, because this is like a custom faction that you made up, right?
Yeah.
Sisters of Pain.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, this is like a custom faction Greg made up in our personal gang called the Sisters of Pain. Pretty much just nuns with bazookas and other heavy weaponry. And this is a bit of a moment to throw a little bit extra.
You don't shoot at nuns, man. Come on.
Yeah. Another bit to throw a little bit of shit at Roland, because he again caused this conflict in the same session. I should mind you, after he nearly blew everyone up with the chain of explosions at the gas station. Like some garage shutters opened up, and there were the Sisters of Pain. We didn't know what they were doing there, but Roland immediately, before any words are said, opens fire, causing yet another conflict that the rest of us had to finish.
So who actually threw the grenade in there with them? Someone threw a grenade in there with them.
I'm looking at him. Okay,
now I'm going to say this, and I'm going to point at you, Greg, because I chose a spot to detonate that grenade where it wouldn't hurt any of us. But you decided to make a secondary explosion from one of the sisters, and that's what got us.
Blame it. I would like to point out how he's not taking any responsibility for his actions.
Absolutely none.
I'm saying.
No,
that's okay, because there's one thing that you have to own, and that's the end of that scene. I mean, literally, this person was trapped under this rubble, couldn't do anything to you, and
she took a shot at me.
begged you, virtually begged you not to.
She did not beg. She just said, "Get the fuck out of here." she was not begging for her life.
She was telling you, she's like, just why? Leave me alone. Go.
She's trapped. And you know what this scumbag did? What? He threw an incendiary grenade in there. It wasn't even like a frag grenade to end it quick. Nah. He threw an incendiary grenade.
That's all I had on me. Look, after everything that just happened, we blew up the entire fucking gas station, and then, opened fire on the Sisters of Pain. Both events that your character, Rob, instigated. This job was just a complete fucking disaster, and we didn't need people out there. We didn't need witnesses, okay? To that fucking disaster. So it's like, yeah, sorry about this, but
you couldn't just shoot her in the head. Nah, you have to let her burn.
The other Sisters of Pain were on their way. I didn't have time for the awkward ass shootout between her and this pile of rubble that was acting as cover. I was like, nah, quick and easy, grenade.
Excuses. That's all I'm hearing. Excuses.
Covering for your ass after you caused all the problems.
Wait a minute. I'm trying to remember. Did my character actually start to shoot out?
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
As soon as they showed up, they didn't get a single word in. They didn't.
No. Not the Sisters of Pain. That he did start, but the shootout with Skeet.
No, Skeet opened up first. I'm not blaming Roland for let Skeet started. I'm blaming Roland for blowing everything up.
Again, I'd like to point out no one knows whose bullet it was that blew up the gas the gas pumps. Just saying. He knows. Just saying.
He knows what happened. He knows what he did. You know what? You know who else knows? Who knows?
Who?
God knows.
Yeah, because God's talking. God's gonna narc on Roland for sure.
So one thing I'm excited about with this is, and just to kind of add in a little bit with the mission kit piece, because there are some new there's some new gear, there's some new equipment in there that that will definitely add to the game. For us, our personal game, for sure, it'll add to the game, whatever we're running, whatever we play online. There's some concepts and ideas in there that definitely kind of tickle the imagination, and I foresee those things coming into play relatively quickly. Not the Sandevistan, though. The Sandevistan.
Yes.
Not that.
Yeah. So
they definitely have to give a new version of the Sandevistan for the game, because after the way the anime gassed up how great it was, because
and then Red doesn't really live up to that.
No, if you look at it,
it doesn't really live up to it.
It's good, but there's also the Karenzakov, which is slightly lesser effect but a constant effect. So it's like, I kind of prefer that.
Exactly. I think most of our characters at this point in our private game probably run with the Karenzakov. Yeah.
It's such a good piece, honestly.
It really is. It really is.
But,
it's like the cheap knockoff version,
but Cyberpunk Red, Sandevistan, and what you see in the anime are completely different beasts. So I'm sure that in the new items for the mission kit, that they're going to have that new version of the Sandevistan. Whether it replaces the old one or this is like a special type, I don't know. I think it was like an experimental type in the anime, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm. It was. So it was a military grade Sandy. It wasn't. I don't think it was a prototype, because I think at that point the Sandevistan had already been out. But it was the fact that it was a military grade Sandy. And because basically, spoilers, so if you don't want to listen, or if you don't want anything ruined for the anime, I'd walk away now. But basically, the individual that it came from was part of C Squad or the Cyber Psycho Squad, out of MaxSac. There we go. Out of NCPD, and basically, if you know anything about MaxTac, they're essentially one sneeze away from being cyber psychos themselves, because they're all just chrome to the gills.
Well, part of the story behind MaxTac is that they are reformed cyber psychos.
Yeah, they're basically high functioning cyber psychos. They have a unique ability to kind of push their mental state to the cyber psychosis point without going crazy, because, and this is something that I really, really love that Mike Pondsmith did when he was creating Cyberpunk, was he actually went out, and again, I'm fairly sure this is true, mostly because he actually talked about it on Reddit at one point in an AMA, I believe, where he went out and he sat down with psychologists. Hold on, my dog is. You good? Anyway.
Just clearing out her nostrils.
Yeah, I don't know, I think she inhaled something or whatever, having trouble breathing. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so Mike Pondsmith went out and spoke with scientists like roboticists and psychologists and stuff about the psychological effect called cyberpsychosis that he was trying to create. Essentially, the more chrome, the more technology that your body has, the less you are connected to the real world. You kind of disassociate. But there are individuals who can kind of disassociate and still function. And that C Squad, that's actually Adam Smasher, is also considered a high functioning cyber psycho. I mean, that guy came out of the womb broken. Let's just put it that way. He was always jacked up. But yeah, it's so basically, yeah. His Sandy is pretty sure it's going to be in the mission kit, and pretty sure it's going to be a unique item if it's not, because it's definitely one of a kind. I would imagine after he probably got, after he got it implanted, and then everything that happens in the show where he kind of takes over, I'm pretty sure you probably would have got like some upgrades for it and kind of like had it improved or something. At least that's kind of my headcanon.
That's what you would do, huh?
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Make it even more powerful. Fantastic.
That's right. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Going all the way.
So, along with the the rule set that's in there, because you have the rule set that allows you to bring your game into more of a 2077 setting, which I mean, I think a lot of us have already done that with Cyberpunk Red, just adapted it. But this actually gives you, it gives you something to work with on that. So you're not creating the whole thing yourself. You're not, home brewing it all up. It gives you the ability to do that in a much quicker, easier format. And as part of the mission kit, I do believe you get some maps, some dice. There's also some tokens that you get with it. So I mean, it's a pretty good pack, and it's definitely set up to where essentially you just open it up and go, and you've got all the things you need to run a good game. It was designed to really, I'm going to say, lower the barrier of entry. Cyberpunk Red did a really good job of kind of simplifying the system to a point where you still get, I mean, it's still a fun system. You still get that feel. It can be crunchy, like Matt was talking about, or I mean, what Rob was talking about, if you really want it to be. But it definitely simplifies the system a great deal. So it makes it a lot easier for players to get engaged in the game, and it also makes the turns go a lot faster, which I know that's one thing that people really look at, especially if you get large groups of players. You don't want to be sitting there for a half hour waiting for everybody else to do their thing before it comes back around to your turn again. And the mission kit definitely will help a great deal with that, I think. So we have
I mean, we've everything that you said. Sorry, that's
it's okay. Do we got any other nightmares we can tell people about? I mean,
there's a lot.
There's so many things that have happened in in our games, in the BOR stream as well. So
yeah, ironically enough, Roland has a penchant for getting blown up. He got blown up in that by that damn taco truck.
He did. That's right.
I think that's just karma coming back at him.
Well, you think of some of the stuff that he's done, that Paul's done, Ryden's done. Like shooting at fish tanks and letting off grenades in an underground bunker, and I mean, some interesting things there that you've decided to do.
Look, again, style over substance, man. If you ain't ready to go all the way, then what are you doing here?
There you go. Well, and that's a big piece of the Cyberpunk universe, is to really play that piece up. I don't want to make it sound like you can't, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to make it sound like you can't make a campaign style game out of Cyberpunk, because you absolutely can. And there's he's just a traitor. There is some really awesome opportunities and potential there for great RP, if that's what you're into. Storytelling. Some people prefer that nonstop action. Let's just go and blow some shit up. System is just awesome for exactly doing exactly that, but it also has a really deep story element to it as well. So I am definitely looking forward to adding in Cyberpunk Edgerunners mission kit to what our games are. So
I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to potentially diving into the history of some of the characters, because again, a lot of these characters kind of they're there and then they're gone. especially character, like Maine and Dorio and all of them, and some of them, they play their part and they're gone. And I definitely want to know more about them, because they were just like that. That's one thing I will give, you know, Artel Saurian as a general rule. They make some really interesting characters. Makes them really, really interesting. Like one of the titular characters from Cyberpunk history in the game is Johnny Silverhand. You love to hate him. Such a dick. And Keanu Reeves did a fantastic job, which is ironic because Keanu Reeves himself is actually a sweetheart.
I do like the idea that the story, as far as the game and the lore of the world, the story is moving away from the Johnny Silverhand.
Which I'm glad.
Yeah.
Because
I love the character, and if you really go back and look at the lore between like Alt Cunningham, Rogue, Johnny Silverhand, I mean that story there's a lot of depth to it, a lot of detail to it, and it's a really great story. But at the same time, I think it's time to move forward and create new content, new stuff. So
yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing what characters are going to be coming out next as they move into later versions of the Cyberpunk universe, or I would even say as they backfill, the period between 2020 and 2045. And because right now it feels like they're filling in that space between 2045 and 2077. By the way, Phantom Liberty, which is the DLC for Cyberpunk 2077, fantastic. I highly recommend you guys get it. I've yet to finish it, but it's so far it's really, really good. All of it's really good. Anything else, Matt? Anything else you want to share with the crowd about what you're looking forward to? What do you think Gillian would want from, like, maybe, let's say, like, some of the items we've heard could potentially be in there and stuff like that?
That's a good question, because he's definitely like a gunslinger.
He is.
But I don't know. I mean, Maine's arm cannon is a pretty good one. However that functions, I guess depending on how that functions, that could be a fun one to have. Because that thing just absolutely decimated anything it was pointed
at. Okay.
We kind of have a version of that.
True. Again, like I'm just interested to see, like, because that's like one of the standout like pieces of cyberware from the anime, besides the Sand of Mistin.
Right.
So I have a feeling like that is going to be featured as well, and I'm just interested in seeing like what that looks like. What can it do? What is it?
I'm interested to find out what the deal is behind the main female character early in Edgerunners and her ability with stealing chipware, because that's not just because he has the speed, she doesn't necessarily have the speed, but she's really
that is actually a good point. Yeah, I wonder how she did that.
Yeah, well, I think they've talked about how, like, essentially quick hacks are going to be a thing.
They are, yes.
So
that's something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be something fun for Netrunners to do in the heat of the moment.
It definitely,
because netrunning is kind of like just playing your own game while everyone else is playing Cyberpunk. I think quick hacks can potentially kind of bring them closer to playing the same game the rest of you are. Kind of have them paying attention. I don't want to say it's a bad thing, because that they're paying attention to what's currently going on, because usually netrunners are off doing something very useful.
But nobody knows about it.
But I feel like it's a way to keep them in the same conflict and able to contribute there, just in a different way.
Well, the net archetype is still going to be there for those who have built-in security for their cybernetics. So that piece will still be there. Which, I mean, it is basically in the game as well, because you still have to hack a person's system to be able to affect their cyberware, things like that. But having that element in, from essentially from the video game in the TTRPG, I think is a big step for Netrunners. Because you're absolutely right. It's like you're playing a different game sometimes when you have a netrunner in the party. It's like you as a GM, you basically have two games going on at the same time. And then, imagine adding another step to that, and now you split the party up. So now you not only have these two distinctly different games going on, but then you have multiple little parties that you're trying to keep track of and keep the story moving forward with. So having the Netrunners be able to have a more engaging role in what the rest of the party is doing, I think that'll really open up a new world for people to play Netrunners, and maybe some people who before really weren't interested in the Netrunner. If you think about it, it's kind of like Magic.
Yeah.
And
it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it gives people that option now, that ability to do that, and that's from playing like 2077. That was always one of my I loved doing that in the game, using my net action, the net skills that I have. You can do really wicked things, and as you power those things up and you use them more, they get more powerful, and you add points into them. I mean, you can basically take down whole groups of people without even firing a shot. So fun stuff.
Yeah, that was the only thing that I did not like about the net actions that you got in the game. They made the game a little too easy, though that's since been adjusted. I know that the game is way harder now. They've definitely upped the difficulty, especially when you're playing on the hardest difficulty. So it's harder. Back before the latest updates, unfortunately the fight with Adam Smasher was considered very anticlimactic because it was very easy. It's very easy. Here's the thing, and this is something that obviously it's here nor there. What's done is done, but the reason I think a lot of it kind of became a little anticlimactic is because as V, you play pretty much every role in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you're allowed to be a netrunner, a solo, a med tech. You're allowed to be all that in one person. So you pretty much got an answer for everything. Which I think for me,
it's a single player game as opposed to the TTRPG where that's definitely not a single player game. You're meant to be playing in a group. So I can see why that in the tabletop game there's you split up the roles and certain people can do certain things, where in the single player game, I mean, I guess depending on how you build your character, you can kind of to some level do it all. That's because you don't have anyone else around to pick up the slack in that area for you.
Yeah, I mean, again, I understand. I get it. I agree with you. But that's definitely something I think in the next iteration of Cyberpunk they should probably look at not doing or doing differently. Because realistically that would, I say realistically it's a freaking game, but I don't know. I think that kind of, for me, that kind of breaks the immersion a little bit.
I mean, just take out your cyber deck and replace it with what was it, Sandevistan?
That's honestly what I ended up doing.
Yeah, I did the same thing too. I didn't do much.
I stripped
out.
I
didn't put all any points or stats into the hacking stuff. I was like, nah, my V is a gunslinger, so slow down time and shoot everything really
Pretty
hard.
much, yeah. Yep. I went gunslinger and actually I went a mix of pretty much gunslinger and like knife throwing. That was always fun.
See, one of my playthroughs, my challenge was to see how many times I could take on a scenario in the game, a combat scenario in the game, without firing a shot and without using melee combat. So the idea was to either take them out using hacks or sneak around on the map and take them down quietly.
Huh. How'd you do? I bet you got real good at it.
I did get pretty good at it. Yeah. There are some situations though that you
just gotta.
Well, you either just have to do it because there's just no way to actually sneak up on them, or you sit there and fiddle with it long enough that you can get them to move into you just got to be patient. You can get them to move into a position where you can actually take them down quietly.
Yep.
Yep. Headshots work wonders.
Headshots do work wonders.
With a silencer?
Especially when you're all the way across the map and you just fucking obliterate their melon. Oh man. Power weapons are busted. Just shooting through walls and shit. Which there's word on the grapevine that all the stuff that's in 2077 the game is going to be in this mission kit, more or less that stuff from the game are going to make their way into the mission kit. So you might get access to power weapons, to attack weapons. So this mission kit honestly really opens up the game to just players being allowed to play how they want. Whereas Red in its natural setting, because again, our private game takes place in the 2070s as well. So Greg, being the DM, he definitely allowed for certain things to be a little bit more available. Because in Red, this is after the nuking of Arasaka Tower. So you have the fallout from that. Corporal Plaza is still a freaking crater, and a lot of things are very, very scarce. But I think this mission kit and the upgraded rule set and setting are going to allow people to really play something I feel like more people are familiar with than not. Because an interesting metric is that a lot of people have played the Cyberpunk games, whether it's Red, whether it's all the way back since 2013, 2020, and 2013, 2020, and then Red, or one of the versions. So a lot of people have played the TTRPG. A lot of people have played the game. I think more people have played the game than played the TTRPG, but everyone has actually seen the anime. A lot more people, like by a significant margin, have seen the anime than have played either of the games. So I think that this mission kit really is going to allow people to take what they've seen in the anime and take what they've played in the video game and bring it to the table. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be easier for people to step into the game, the TTRPG version of the game, and start to explore Red, maybe even go back all the way to 2020, maybe even go all the way back to 2013, and convert some of those rules to make it a little bit more up to date. But it's definitely, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see exactly what this mission kit's going to bring to the table. And again, once the embargo lifts and we get to be able to show it, I think you guys will get to. I think we'll probably put something together for you guys to check out. Anybody got anything else on this one?
Not on the Cyberpunk piece. I think well, actually, one thing I do want to just say to folks when it comes to the Cyberpunk universe, the mission kit, the new product, definitely will allow you. It gives you the ability to take what you've seen and you've learned through like the Edgerunner series and the newer content that's out there, and really bring that into your game. But I don't want to discredit Cyberpunk Red itself, which is a fantastic system.
Sure.
It's much simplified over Cyberpunk 2020, and Cyberpunk 2020 is probably my personal favorite, in part because of all the lore that was created during that time. And that most of that lore is I look at that as being the lore for my Cyberpunk world, no matter what system I'm playing. And I would encourage you to go and take a look at the stuff that's out there, the books center around 2020, because there is just such a wealth of material to use. You'll never run out of content for your games. It's exciting stuff. So
yeah, there's a lot that goes kind of into that and into the game. Such good stuff.
So next on the docket is,
all right. So I don't know. We have 2 more pieces that we want to cover. I think we're going to cover. Let's cover WotC, because they've kind of landed themselves in a little bit of a.
So we've just spent an hour pumping up one game company so we can tear another one down. I love it.
Gotta start with the good news.
But yeah, WotC, they've been quiet lately, so it was only a matter of time before something came up again. Honestly.
Yeah. So to give you the long and short of it, way back when, this was, I'd say at least 6 months, if not longer. Well, first of all, WotC has been kind of stepping in it for a while now, ever since the OGL situation, January of last year. They've been kind of stepping it in it for a bit now. But Glory of the Giants was a compendium that they came out with, I would say about 6 or more years, 6 or so months ago, maybe a bit more. I think it was sometime in the summer. Don't quote me on that.
Glory Hole of the Giants. Got it.
Glory Hole of the Giants.
As it's,
Glory.
As it is known these days.
Yeah, a lot of people call it Glory Hole of the Giants. It's kind of a joke. But Glory of the Giants came out, and eagle-eyed enthusiasts of D&D and guys who've been playing the game for years and years quickly caught on to the fact that a lot of the art in Glory of the Giants was AI generated. Now, whether
a lot, don't you mean all of the art?
I want to give them a little bit of grace. I'm not gonna say all.
I don't. No grace.
But
no grace.
Chances are, yeah. I think most, if not all, of the art in Glory of the Giants was AI generated.
When you do really scummy shit like consistently, you just don't deserve any grace anymore. It's like, you got to do something to make up for that.
You got to make up for that. Yeah, fair enough. So they got called out for that, and they came out with a couple statements, apologizing and stating that they are on the side of the artist, and all of their stuff is, basically saying that they don't want any AI art in their product, that they want to support the hardworking artists that
that's not actually what that's not actually what the policy says, though.
No, it's not. and that's where we are now, and what's landed them in this particular situation, and why they're being called out again, because they've actually, since May 9th of this year, they've had a position, I don't know if it's been filled, but they had a position up on their website, on their job posting, for an AI focused position. And in that basically requirements, they basically wanted this individual to be well versed in AI and machine learning and its implementation in various aspects of media, be it 3D, 2D art, and otherwise. So basically giving them almost a free license to start putting AI into the stories, the art, I mean, anything really. Completely counter to what they said not that long ago.
Well, here's the thing when it comes to like what they've said a while ago, and like I guess what you call their current policy on AI.
And I like to point out, they left themselves a loophole. As Greg was implying, they left themselves a fucking loophole.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to explain now, because I think they've been caught several times by now implementing AI since Glory Giants, and they keep saying, "Oh, sorry, it won't happen again. Look at our non-AI policy." But there's a bit in this policy, because like I don't remember what it said verbatim, but in general it says, we're not going to use AI for any final products.
No.
That's the bit right there.
It says that they're not going to let their artists use. It doesn't say that they're not going to use. It says that they're not going to let their artists use any AI-generated material or final product. It does not say that we Wizards of the Coast will not use. It says we will not let our artists use.
Yeah, but I think the biggest part is probably the fact that they say final product.
Maybe that's why they're hiring an engineer to do the AI shit. It's not an artist.
Probably. That's a good catch. But go ahead, Matt.
But I think the piece that is really the loopholes where they say final. Because that means that under that, the appearance say that they could use AI up until the final stage before, they essentially have what is set to be released. And like, you could technically just create an AI piece of art and then have a person kind of just trace it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, the final product made by a person
was done by hand.
Right. Yeah, no AI involved in the creation of this final image. And that's the loophole. And I think immediately after they say that, pretty much they can change. This policy may change. As technology changes at any time. Pretty much saying it's like, yeah, we know we have this policy, but
we can change it whenever we want.
When we want, we're just going to change it. So the anti-AI policy,
just like the OGL and everything else that they do.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'm finding it. I mean, I know why they're doing it. But for me, it's like, well, not only just money, but it's like, guys, we're not fucking stupid. We know we can see what you're doing. Like, I don't understand.
No, you can't.
When these companies are going to realize there are people on the internet who are going to find out your shit. Like, you're not going to be able to hide it. There are people who are going to find out the shit. So if you want to if you want to use AI, go ahead and fucking use it, but don't be don't be a fucking bitch. Excuse my French, and I know I'm kind of coming off the rails here, but don't be a bitch. Just own up to it. Just be like, look, yes, we're changing up our policy. We're gonna start utilizing AI technology to help us, create better content, but we're not doing away with our artists or whatever spiel your PR people want to come up with. But don't just own it. You're using AI. You're not or you're using AI resources and AI generated resources, and you're using, AI generators. You're not the only one. You're just trying to hide it and doing a shit job at that.
Yeah, like I feel like Wizards of the Coast really should just at this point just own it. Be like, yeah, we're using AI and we plan to keep using AI. Just come out and say it, because right now, it's obvious that they intend that's their intention, but they're trying to hide it unsuccessfully, and it really just comes off as, they think their customers are stupid, and they don't respect them, so they're going to essentially try to mislead them and lie to them to make them believe they're not doing this when they really are.
If you
be honest at this point, that would actually give you, people may not like that you're using AI, but at least you can respect that they're being fucking honest about
Yeah, and that's honestly that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's like I'll respect you more if you just straight up about it and stop unsuccessfully pulling the wool over people's eyes. Just we know, and
Well,
most people, while we don't like it, we don't care enough. As long as what I'm getting is actually decent product, I don't care if you used AI art. Whatever, fuck it.
It's one thing if you truly make a mistake, and that's
Yes.
the problem with what they're doing is that this is like a habitual thing. They're not. This isn't a mistake anymore.
Yeah, they did this shit on purpose.
Maybe somebody in their organization is making a mistake, but they're not correcting it unless they get caught. So it's literally one of those, they're not doing anything about it other than lip service to the general public. They created this situation for themselves. And I understand, the reluctancy to own it. And every time they get caught, it comes down to the same issues. But then you couple that with the fact that, it really appears that a lot of the things since the OGL debacle happened, a lot of the things that they've said now appear to be a complete line. It's all garbage. It's all just placating the community. And what I mean by community is not just the players, because the players just want good content for the most part. And most of the people that are out there playing a game, they're going to have an opinion one way or the other for sure. We want to support artists, but we want good art. We want good content. But even bigger than that is the fact that the OGL's not new. It's been around for quite a long time now. And there's a lot of companies, studios out there that owe their origin to that OGL. And a lot of the product that they've created and still create is largely based upon that OGL. And when you start looking at that, now the affected audience is not just the people that are buying WotC product. It's the people that are buying all these other products, all these other game systems that, that in some of these game systems are very adamant about the use of AI art, and they're either pro or against.
And that's fine either way. But here's the thing: they're upfront about it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are very upfront about it, and most I would say are against using AI art, AI generated art, just because that's not something they want to do, and they want to keep the passion of art, making art, making custom art, where in my opinion where it should be with the actual artist. And again, we've talked about this before. I don't think either of the three of us are against AI tools used to maybe help create a concept or to help kind of give you a starting platform, as an artist or even a writer. Like, hey, I'm having writer's block, or I'm really give it to an AI generator, be like, okay, what can you give me, and pull ideas from there, because it's a tool. Like whether people like it or not, AI generators, AI learning, machine learning, those are now tools that are open to being used. Use them as such, but don't use them as a replacement for actual people who have the skills to do the work. Because you're only hurting yourself.
And
that's just my
there's plenty of talented people out there to do the work. Yeah. Admittedly, from a developer or publisher standpoint, if you're not a big publisher, here's the thing with this. Hasbro, WotC. It's not like they're hurting for money or anything. No. So for them to be deciding that we're going to cut out all these people, real people that are out there doing great work, we're going to cut all them out and just have a computer do it for us. We're going to have AI make all this stuff for us. And the AI is really taking all of its concepts from previous work that's been done by these people. To me, that's ridiculous. Now, on the other side of that, you have a lot of small publishers that just don't have the financial capability to go out and buy on a competitive scale. I mean, like, for us, for instance, do we have the financial capability of competing directly on a art basis with what WotC can do?
No, absolutely not.
No, not even close.
Like I can only imagine what it costs to get like a full, source book like Glory of the Giants done. All the pieces of art and whatnot that go in there. I don't even want to see the bill on that, because I can imagine it's probably in the tens of thousands.
Yeah, well, if not more, and then depending upon who you're signing in there. I mean, a lot of the art you can buy outright, more or less, just hiring people to draw a piece, and then you own the piece.
Some of the large artists, royalties.
Yep, they're gonna want royalties. Absolutely.
So so again, I want to make it clear, we're not against AI art being used as a tool, but again, like just be upfront about it. And WotC has no, at least in my opinion, they have no reason to hide it. They have no reason. Like, first of all, we're gonna find out. Someone on the internet's gonna find out. Someone's gonna call you out. It's gonna happen. Where it takes a couple days, a week, a month, hell, even a year. Someone's gonna fucking find. I mean, people are out there pulling tweets out from like 10 years ago on people. Like, we're gonna find it. So just be straight up about it. It is what it is, I just don't understand. But I will tell you this though. Let's say, for the sake of conversation, they swap to mostly AI generated content, be it writing, be it art, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I for one, now I don't see this happening, but I for one wonder if the price of the product's gonna go down, because now you don't gotta pay nobody. You just gotta throw it in your little AI generator, you're done. So you can still charge us, $40, $50, $60 for a book.
That's the will. Let's be honest.
That's why I said I highly doubt the price will go down. And seeing that's the other problem for me with all of this is you have it's not just WotC. There are other companies there too, but we're gonna pick on WotC because they've put their foot in their mouth about it. You're moving to AI generated content to cut down on overhead, which as a business I get. You want to cut the costs while still hopefully still maintaining the quality of the product. Okay, roger that. But you're going to cut costs, assumably, with this whole AI generated content. Why isn't the product cost going to come down then? Oh, because you want to make all the money. That's why.
It's a profit motive, absolutely a profit motive, and it really comes down to looking at what are your margins, and then what are you projecting your earnings to be, and especially with a company as large as Hasbro, for one. Yeah. I mean, in a publicly traded company, I mean, they got to be looking at they got to be looking at, okay, how do we take care of our investors, because they're important too. And that all comes down to how much money they're going to make. So when these companies are looking at, now here's the thing with this. In an ideal situation, if you can, let's say, as a production company, we can reduce the amount of cost involved with what we do. In an ideal world, you pass on at least some of that savings to the next person in line. So where the problem comes in is that we, as the end consumer, may not see any of it. WotC, sorry, Wizzy. They frustrate me, I tell you. But
they do.
Wizzies of the coast, baby.
They may. I mean, well, they very well may pass on some of those savings. Okay, that would be, my opinion, that would be the right thing to do. Not all of it. Keep some of it. That's fine, but pass some of it on. Pass some of that savings on, rather than say, hey, we can save $1 a book. Don't just let that dollar drop to the bottom line and say, this is all mine. To hell with the rest of you. Split it up a bit. Maybe what do you want your margin to be on that product? Maybe you go to that point, and then whatever's over that, you pass it on down the line. But that's the end. The problem is, especially in our industry, is you don't see that happening. That it'll get gobbled up one way or the other. Whether it's going to be the small hobby store that's out there, which honestly, I mean, they need to make a profit too. We want them to be there, so they need to make money. But is it gonna reflect to the end consumer? So when they switch from paid for art to all AI generated art, and I don't know what the savings would look like in that. I think it depends upon the product. But when they make that switch, are we going to see that? And I think, honestly, the answer is no, we're not. Not as consumers. We're not going to see that.
No.
That book that was $60 is going to continue to be $60.
The only way I could see that price coming down for the consumer is if a competitor essentially force them to bring down to a competitive price. But,
that's the only way.
Even if Cyberpunk is still Cyberpunk it's growing between the anime and the video game that came out. A lot of new people are getting into Cyberpunk. It's growing, but it's certainly not there yet. So whatever
a ton of people
savings,
are also getting into Pathfinder as well.
Yeah. So whatever savings WotC's gonna save in this AI initiative, they're keeping that they're keeping that for themselves, because as we know that we talked about this before, Hasbro as an entire company hasn't been doing great.
No.
So
they've
and that's
suffered.
likely why they're making such a strong push towards AI, because they need to cut down on costs as much as possible. They need to, D&D, Wizards is probably one of their few remaining divisions that you could still call successful. So they're trying to milk as much as they possibly can, and that includes the AI piece.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the reason why this what we're discussing now is part of the reason why they've taken such a hit, because they haven't been upfront with the people who are playing their game. I mean, the OGL, I think of all the things that have happened with WotC, the OGL was definitely the biggest determining factor in the hit that they've taken to the popularity of the IP. Was that situation right there, and then everything since then has just seemed to kind of reinforce that, where people are like, you know what, I'm done, because again, just be straight up. And Greg, to your comment about being profit focused,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, and here's the thing that, and I sound like here's the thing, but this is the thing. That's not a bad thing in and of itself. On paper, just taking by itself, that's not a bad thing. Being profit focused, because you have to be. But isn't being profit focused also mean you're putting out a good product? Isn't being profit focused also mean that you're listening and communicating with your player base? Because here's the thing, they're the ones who are going to buy your stuff. They're the ones who are going to play your stuff. They're the ones who are going to recommend your stuff to other people who may not know anything about you. Now, I'm not saying listen to everything they say. I'm not saying, give them everything that they want. No, but when the vast majority of your constituents tell you we don't like this thing, don't go and do that thing.
Ideally, I think what you're okay. So
we would be fucked up inside of 5 minutes.
what you're talking about right now, Rob, would be the in a perfect world. Yeah, that would be ideally what a profit motive would look like. Honestly, however, what I'm talking about is there are actual definitions, economic definitions involved with these things, and a profit motive is literally about looking at the incentives for gain is what that profit motive is. Now, you would think that part of those incentives for gain, where that starts and stops, is generally right at truly profit money. How much money can I make? That's generally where it stops, unfortunately. But I agree with you. I mean, there's a whole lot more that could be rolled into that to look at. And, you know, companies that do this well, and what I mean by that is companies that can really connect with the marketplace. They can really connect with their customer base, their community, are the companies that have an understanding of what this really means. And they're really good at it. They're really good at keeping the people happy and providing the things that people want. What ends up happening, though, is that system all too often gets corrupted over time. Because on one hand, okay, the focus is always going to be on how much profit you're making. And from an investor standpoint, most of the time, now I'm not saying everybody's this way. There are some investors out there that invest from the heart. They invest in things that they really believe in. They're like you know, there's plenty of people out there that really have invested heavily in green energy. Okay, a lot of them have lost their ass, but there are some companies that have done fairly well in the green energy space. Solar for a long time was a dog, and it's starting to actually not be such a dog anymore. But people have stayed involved with those things for the long haul because they believe in it. Okay. Now, the vast majority of investors are the people who are just dumping their money into a 401k or whatever it happens to be, and it goes into a large brokerage, and then all they're interested in is making a profit for their investors. That's it. That's the main motive there, because that's how they make their money. If I invest my money with somebody and I invest it with them because I want them to make me a profit, and then they don't make me a profit, I'm not going to continue to invest with them. So they're motivated to only look at profits from the standpoint of how much money did you make. But I agree with what you're saying. I definitely think that, you know, we need to have some stake in this and invest in things that we believe in. And, you know, from that standpoint. Now, what I'm guessing is happening here with Hasbro is a combination of things. Because for one thing, business was really good for these companies like Hasbro and you know, most of your big tech giants for about 3-4 years through the COVID pandemic era. Business was booming. And you know, they spent money like there was no tomorrow, like it was never going to end. They, you know, beefed up their head count. They started investing in all these different things and whatnot. Is that good or bad? You know, my sense is that they started spending all this money in developing these projects without really considering the fact that, you know, this isn't like the new norm. This isn't gonna last forever. I think some people thought it was. I think some people thought that, you know, wearing a diaper on your face all the time was gonna be the new thing. We were gonna, you know, in our world. Sorry, I'm being a little political there, but
No, I mean, you're not wrong. Like that, unfortunately, that was part of a lot of the boom that we saw in the industry, and a lot of the popularization of the gaming industry as a whole, from video games to TTRPGs. Not the only thing, but I think it was one of, if not the biggest thing to have people come into the space and be like, hey, look, I like this now, or maybe, you know, and the reason being for that is because, again, like you said, everybody, they had nothing to do but sit at home, so they got into TTRPGs, systems like Roll20 and Foundry the Foundry TTRPG VTT, excuse me, got really popular because people had nothing to do but sit at home. So hey, let's find ways to entertain ourselves.
Well, it's important that, from a business standpoint, it's important that you anticipate growth as well, anticipate the good times as well as the bad times. When things are going really well for you, you should be prepared for that time when things are not going so well. If you don't prepare for those times, that's how your business crashes. That's how you go bankrupt, because you got caught up in the wave of prosperity, and then when things weren't quite as prosperous anymore, you didn't know how to deal with it. You weren't prepared for it. So, and that's that would be my take on what's going on with a company like Hasbro right now. Microsoft is another one that is, but they're a monster, but
yeah,
they, there's some issues there. All right, I'll stop there because I'm going into different things here.
Yeah, a lot of business talk, but yeah, that's sort of the short and skinny of the recent WotC thing. They just keep getting caught using AI art when they're trying to act as if they're not doing it, and that's just made a lot of people upset, understandably so.
I'm I really wish this would not have happened, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I and you guys know this. Well, right, and I mean we fully intended, 8 months ago, 9 months ago, we were more than that, actually, probably about a year ago now. But we fully intended to, be one of those companies that utilized that OGL and created content to support something that we loved. Yeah, and here we are a year later, and to be, my standpoint on it is, I don't even want to touch that. I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah. I still enjoy D&D as a game. We have, I think, 2 different private games based off 5th edition. I enjoy both of them, and I think that's why why this frustrates us so much is because we love the game and we want to see the company running it do better than this.
Ideally, yeah, that's what they would be doing, but it doesn't seem like they're picking up the fucking hint.
Nah, they're not. They're focused. They're focusing solely on profits now, and they're just willing to burn the goodwill that they've had up until essentially the OGL scandal. That was kind of like the real start of when they just went on this essentially crusade of burning goodwill. And I'm gonna say, the whole profit. I mean, I don't want to go too far back in the business.
Let's go on a crusade to destroy what we have.
Yeah, but here's the thing: it's under that profit focused, mindset, but it's so short sighted because in this effort to get as much money as you possibly can, you're burning all of the goodwill, all of the support that you've had that built you to what you are. And it's in the long run, that's not going to do you any favors.
No.
You're driving people away, especially at a time when your competitors are growing. They're not rivaling you yet, but
they're getting there.
But they probably will before you know it. I don't know how long that's going to take, but when they get to that spot, people are going to be supporting them because they haven't done everything that they can to kind of spit in the face of the people that support them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that all of these efforts that they're doing are short-sighted. and it's gonna come back and bite them down the line.
The unfortunate part is in the fantasy space, the Dungeons and Dragons IP is very, very dominant, and that's going to be a hill to climb. It'd probably take a long time to really pull that down and have some other IP in that space that becomes bigger than what that IP is. Not saying it's not possible. Absolutely, anything's possible. I mean, you look at Coca-Cola. I mean, the whole Coca-Cola versus Pepsi thing. Pepsi's still not as big as Coca-Cola is, but they've definitely taken a huge chunk of market share away from that company than what it once was. But I
guess I don't know enough about soda lore to really comment on that too much. But yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely not coming soon, but I'd say probably sooner than you think for when Wizards might have to start sweating a bit about their position.
Yeah, it's on the way. But that's par for the course. I mean, when you decide to kind of do that kind of practice, that kind of thing, it's like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah, but that is what it is. It's the path that Wizards has been on for over a year now.
Hey, Rob still says we're going to buy Wizards one day, so
yeah.
I mean,
maybe when that day comes, they'll be worth like $2 maybe.
Penny stock, maybe.
Give like a decade. give like a decade or two. We'll see how they're doing.
Anyway. But honestly, by the time I'm just whatever. I'm just bullshitting. But I mean, by the time we get to that point, I guarantee you we're not even going to want that anymore.
Probably not. Maybe not. Who's to say, honestly? This is all like, what if in the future type speak. We don't know how that's all going to look in the future. But anyway, I think that's probably enough about WotC right there.
Mm-hmm.
We have another topic.
One more. Ooh. And I don't think this one probably isn't going to take very long. But we're taking a step away from TTRPGs for this one, going back to video games. Because very recently, BioWare dropped the trailer for the new Dragon Age game, Dragon Age: The Veilguard. And like I've been a fan of the Dragon Age series. Like BioWare back in the day was like the golden gods of RPG video games. Now they made Dragon Age, they made Mass Effect, two incredible series. And this trailer was it was something. So for those who know Dragon Age, it's a dark fantasy setting. So definitely not something you call lighthearted. Now they have their bits of humor in there, of course. But I'd say the overall tone is that like this is a pretty dark and gritty world. I mean, hell, the religion is based off a god that got pissed at humanity and straight up just left. So the religion is about like repentance and just be like, please come back, God. We're sorry.
We done goofed.
Yeah, so like it's not a lighthearted setting, but this trailer, it was like watching a trailer for like a heist movie. Like, they have like a trailer of like two people discussing a plan, like, oh, we're gonna need this person, shows this person what their role is, and it's like, oh, like they have their like quips and all this stuff, and it's just like, I don't know, the tone is so off for what Dragon Age normally is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, like what did you get from that, Rob, or even you, Greg?
Go ahead, Rob.
Okay, so honestly, I've played the original Dragon Age and Dragon Age 2. It honestly, I'm gonna be completely honest. It felt like the graphics are great. The graphics are great. Obviously, they're pushing the Frostbite engine real hard. The graphics look stellar, but it seemed, again, like we said, it seemed too lighthearted. It seemed like I was watching like a Fortnite trailer or something.
Oh yeah, or like a trailer for the MCU or something.
Yeah, like it did not. It was not Dragon Age. It just wasn't. This was definitely not a return to form.
Definitely not. And like I think part of that is like it's kind of important to note that like BioWare is not the same company it was when Mass Effect and Dragon Age were first made. Like almost all of the key personnel have left for other places. Like I think in the development of the Veilguard Dragon Age, I believe creative director changed a couple times. So like this is, I mean, the people who created Dragon Age, that's not who these people are now. It's very different people, very different company from what it originally was. And honestly, BioWare hasn't been the same since Mass Effect 3, I think. Because I think that's like when the first crack really started to show in BioWare. Because, I mean, if anyone who played Mass Effect 3 in the series up till then knows that ending, they must have ran out of time. And they rushed the hell out of that thing. And it was bad. It was bad. Since then, it's just BioWare just has been the same. Dragon Age Inquisition was not a bad game, but I don't know, didn't quite do it for me like 1 or even 2 did. And Mass Effect Andromeda was something. Then let's not forget Anthem being a completely failed game.
Oh yeah, that one's a complete wash.
Yeah. Anthem was BioWare. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like it's a shame. It's a shame because Mass Effect and Dragon Age were 2 amazing series with like incredible worlds. Like I loved both of those. And the games, you know, and the games were good. But I don't know. I don't have. I'd love to be proved wrong when the game actually comes out. When Dragon Age: The Veilguard comes out, I'd love to be proved wrong.
All right, so
see kind of return to form.
What do you have that's positive to say when it comes to this thing? I put it up in the Discord. If you're a member of our Discord, you can go in there and check it out for yourself. If you're not a member of our Discord, what's wrong with you?
What are you doing?
Go join the Discord.
I think Rob kind of said it. Like visually, it looks good. Like it, like that's
better than
the only thing I can really say about it.
It's better than Stardew Valley.
You're really going back to that, huh?
Yeah, you really got something against Stardew Valley, don't you?
Not really.
Yeah, like visually it looks good. I'm not gonna take a knock at how the game looks. I mean, who knows? Maybe when it actually comes out, we might see something, we might not. But just like the tone that it was setting, just did not. It just wasn't Dragon Age, man. It like you could have told me that this was a completely different game. You know, like at the end of the trailer, instead of saying Dragon Age, it could have said something else. I'd be like, yeah, okay. They could have called it a completely different game, and it'd be like, okay, no, that cool, looks cool. But because they call it, I wouldn't guess that this was Dragon Age, except for the fact that they mention Dragon Age lore things like the Darkspawn, the Veil, stuff like that. But
the
tone and presentation was not what the series has traditionally been. It is definitely off-putting.
Well, the introduction piece to the series in this trailer, I 100% agree with what you're saying there, because it just feels off. It's, for one thing, it's that style of rolling into a story. It's not there's nothing new, and there's no ingenuity in there. It's like,
yeah, and it's not a Dragon Age thing.
Right,
well,
right.
I mean, the thing is, Dragon Age, it's a dark fantasy. Yeah. Based on that trailer and its tone, would you guess that this was a dark fantasy world?
No.
I'd guess that it's more of an adventure game. I mean, Dragon Age,
or is adventure Dragon Age
are adventure, but you know what I mean. It's more of like I got kind of a buddy cop, like feeling from it. Like it was going to be just chock full of like just tongue-in-cheek humor with some, maybe more serious elements, but it didn't give me that sense of, I guess the best way I can put it didn't give me the sense of gravitas that Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2 did. I haven't played Inquisition yet, so I can't speak to that. But definitely Dragon Age 1 and 2, they had a sense of weight to even the trailer. Like you weren't going there strolling, going in the bar, having a bar fight and a drink. Nah, it was going to be, there's some stakes, some big stakes on the line here.
They're taking a play from Disney and reimagining Dragon Age.
God, I hope not. I mean, I'm hoping that this was just a misguided marketing piece. That they thought that this doing the trailer in this style would be like fun and people would like it, find it funny. I'm hoping that's the case, and that the actual game and its storytelling is still what we know from Dragon Age. Because if that is the style of storytelling that they're taking now, I that's going to disappoint just about every fan of the series if that's how it is now. I don't know. It's a series I love, but it's one that I've accepted, as well as the Mass Effect series, that it's not the new games that come out of BioWare what I fell in love with them for.
The really unfortunate thing, Matt, is my sense is that we can expect more of this, not just from BioWare, but it's kind of the state that we're in right now. Is they're trying to aim for what's going to hit the largest audience the quickest. You know what I mean? I don't know whether these guys are going to hit the mark with this game or not. It sounds like it's potentially just going to be a flop, because it's so far separated from the original series that a lot of those people that really fell in love with the original Dragon Age content are going to jump into and I'm just speculating on this, but I mean, it looks like, feels like, sounds like the people who fell in love with the original Dragon Age are going to jump into this expecting something, and it's just not going to be there.
Yeah. Well, I feel like they're in a precarious position because of what happened with Anthem and Andromeda probably not being what everyone wanted from it. I feel like if this game doesn't do well, I could very well see BioWare being shut down. It's like, I feel like they really need to knock it out of the park with this one, but that trailer does not inspire much confidence in me right
now. No, not at all. Because I mean, I completely agree with you, Matt. They've taken some hits in terms of the recent IPs. Anthem being the largest one, where that was just a dud from beyond from even before release, people were like, yeah, this is a flop.
Oh yeah, and the thing about Anthem, and this is like, I feel like a lot of times when we talk about like a game that comes out as a huge flop, you can sometimes point to like publisher interfering, but I remember watching a video on that game's development. Now that was that failure was on BioWare. That was purely on the development team there. So BioWare as a development studio they haven't been performing super great for a while now. Honestly, even in their golden age, their development cycle was never all that great, and they really relied on crunch a lot, to the point that it was kind of like a haphazard mindset where things would just work out because they got that BioWare magic. And that luck only lasted so long. The start of that downfall, I believe, was Mass Effect 3. That's where the cracks in that mindset started to show, and it's only gotten worse from then on.
Well, hopefully it turns out to be. Here's the ultimate question: are you going to buy it?
I'm probably going to pay attention. I'm probably going to watch some YouTuber or a Twitch streamer play it. If if it looks good, I'll buy it. But if it's looking how I kind of expect it to, then I probably won't. I didn't buy Mass Effect Andromeda, even though I played 1, 2, and 3 and loved each of them.
Right.
Even 3, despite its ending. Overall, I still consider it a good game. But
just did a stick landing, huh?
It really did.
Yeah.
But I'll keep an eye on it, and I'm sitting on the fence for this one, honestly.
Likewise,
if I can see someone playing it, after it's released and it looks good, then yeah, I'll give BioWare my money. I'll buy that game. But I'm definitely not gonna buy it before seeing what it actually looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna buy it at launch. Definitely not pre-ordering. Fuck that shit. I'm gonna wait until I can see. I'm gonna wait until I can see what.
If you're gonna pre-order anything, go pre-order Cyberpunk Edgerunners mission kit.
Yeah, when does it officially?
It drops officially the 21st.
The 21st. Oh, they're gonna be fighting. They're gonna be fighting Elden Ring at that time, because the 21st is when Shadow of the Erdtree comes out.
Yep. Shadow of the Erdtree comes out then. Assumably the Steam Summer Sale starts at that point. You got the Cyberpunk mission kit coming. Honestly, I don't know. I think Shadow of the Erdtree is going to win that one.
Elden Ring is. I love Cyberpunk and the TTRPG, but it's definitely not as big as Elden
Ring. Nah, Dark Soul, Elden Ring specifically, but From Software games, they always garner a lot of attention just because they're that good, because they prioritize making a good freaking game and what the players want to see over solely profits. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean,
just saying.
Elden Ring got Game of the Year 2022, didn't it?
I'm pretty sure it did. Yeah. And this is after people were ragging on the UI and saying, "Oh, no player's gonna like that. No one wants to see that."
Okay, well, I don't want to say people. That was just
that was
from very few people.
Well, here's the thing. The sad part is that was actually not just from anybody. That was from fellow developers and game developers. People were people from other studios were like, yeah, I'm paraphrasing one of the tweets, but I remember it because it was kind of harsh. It was like, yeah, obviously the people from software don't really know how to do UI design or something akin to that. Was one of the tweets that I read. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess you go in there then.
I believe that came from a Ubisoft developer, and I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
Of course,
I'm pretty sure
be
a Ubisoft developer did have something to say. They may have said something different, or this might have been it. I mean, here's the thing.
If it was a Ubisoft developer, I'm not fucking surprised.
I mean, I'm gonna put the Ubisoft management, the Ubisoft developers on a bit of a different level here. But as far as game design goes, between the stuff you see out of Ubisoft and the stuff you see out of From Software, you can tell they have completely different game design philosophies there. Ubisoft, they give you a lot of information on your UI. You have the whole detailed map with all these icons. You can know exactly where everything is. And From Software games typically don't give you a whole lot of information, and they keep their UI relatively clean. And part of that is so that you can kind of immerse yourself a bit better in the world. Yep. Because From Software makes some pretty damn good looking environments, even if you want to say graphically From Software games don't look the greatest, as far as just the shine and the oohs and ahs, but it's all about the fucking vibes and the aesthetic atmosphere that they set.
Yeah.
And it's having less on your UI helps you kind of immerse yourself in that environment more than if you had a bunch of different things, icons, all this stuff, which again, it's for different players. You may prefer one or the other, because the Ubisoft style of having a lot of your UI and a lot of info, it's functional, it tells you a lot, and you may appreciate that, because From Soft games definitely don't hold your hand and tell you exactly where you need to go next. Kind of just
no.
I mean, the game design points you in certain directions, but they don't give you a quest marker and be like, okay, over here now. They don't do it that style. So again, it's just very different game design philosophies that work for some people and don't work for others.
I like it. I like not having my hand held while I'm playing a game. It's the rest of my time that I like having my hand. All right, guys. So we are at 2 hours and 2 minutes, and I think fairly good episode. I really enjoyed being able to dig into the mission kit some, rip on WotC a little bit, and Hasbro, and and
it's been a while.
It has been a while. And get some.
We got soft.
Well, and get some insight on this Dragon Age game. So good stuff. Do we have anything else for this evening, or do I get to go have some supper?
You get to go eat, man.
Get you some food, man.
What are the plans for mananas?
With everything that we have going on right now, I didn't really. I was really wanting to try and squeeze something in with this mission kit, but unfortunately, that's not till Friday.
Yes.
Right.
So gotta wait.
Yeah.
So
tell
you what,
maybe at a future Thursday we'll be able to get to the mission kit, but definitely not yet.
Well, or if you guys are open to it, I mean, we can talk about it. Maybe we do a Friday stream. Maybe not a game stream, but just talk about the mission kit, share some details, so that people can get a look at what they would potentially be getting with this thing.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Let's do that. We can do that then.
What do you think, Matt?
I'm sure folks would be interested in seeing that.
Trade your Thursday for a Friday?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. So I will.
It may not be a super long stream, but I think there's some fun things in there to discuss.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So bring your friends. Come on back and join us on Friday at 7 p.m. Right? CST?
Yes, 7 p.m. CST or 8 p.m. EST. For those of you who are on the East Coast or whatever time zone you're in. We're sitting down and cracking open the Cyberpunk mission kit on Friday.
Awesome. So outside of that, next week I plan to get back into the BOR and hit episode 7, season 2, episode 7 of the BOR. And within the next few weeks, we are going to have some surprises for our audience. Not just in story, because we are going to change up some story a little bit, but we also are going to be introducing some new cast members to the stream. So I am really excited about that. That's all I got. Are we there yet? Are we done now?
Yeah, we're good to go. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you guys. This has been episode 56 of the Update Log. I'm Rob, and this is Matt and Greg. And we're missing contacts, and this is the Update Log. Thank you guys for coming out. You guys have a good one.
Thank you.